Hello, peoples. Hello, world. So let me get right to it. Let's get right to it. So, I've been doing a lot of rapping. I have a lot of raps and rhymes that I've done long ago that are already put up and I've put aside. I'll put all that aside for a moment. So, before I go on with the story, let me share something my wife shared with me. Back before she found out I was shooting up when I was on opiates. Back then she was heavily involved with God. As I discussed, I went to jail. When I went to jail, she went to a women's rehab center and got submerged and heavily involved with God, Jesus, and all that, right? That was the start of it for her. And she's come a long way. She's an amazing person. Anyways, during this time, I hadn't told her. And so she assumed something was wrong, but didn't really know, couldn't put a finger on it. And she said there were times she rode the bus, and she said she remembers specifically riding the bus, and God was telling her, look at this, look up there, look at the picture, stare, look at it. And she said she just told me this, she didn't know, but there was a picture of a spoon and a syringe. And she said God was telling her, look at the picture, look at it, and was telling her that I was shooting up, you know. Like I said, she just told me this, so this testimony, once again, I figured somebody maybe needed to hear that, may be helpful for somebody. I hope it is. On for today's story. So, as I've discussed, where we left off last, the Batcave, Bruce was hanging out with the Joker, and Batman ate his eggs and ran away. No, but, so, a lot of this I've never even touched on, okay? So we're going to start Coincidences 3. So I don't have to repeat myself, I'll give you a brief upbringing. Just quick. You should see and know all this from other videos. I had 2 skateboards at 13, Steve Caballero, Lance Mountain, 2 of my favorite skaters. They came here to Marietta, Georgia, and met my sister and her best friend on a double date. 2 guys' skateboards I had. That was first coincidence at 13. They, like I discussed, they range, they go all kind of crazy. One of them is, I was in Judge Bloom and Neil Bloom's house painting painting the inside of their house. 6 months before I was in court with Judge Bloom, I was in my judge's house 6 months prior, coincidentally. Another one of these crazies. As I've discussed, my lawyer, Harry Krumenauer, who I ran into who was my lawyer, who I was seeing at the time, I run into him again coincidentally at a whatchamacallit, this guy, Tom, had a grand opening for a chiropractic office. I run back into my lawyer and this guy my wife was friends with. I discussed this. 2 more way out there coincidences. And like I said, I ran into my lawyer and this guy, punked him out, and Judge Bloom. I ran into my PO coincidentally. This is in the Pins and Needles twice. I was in boot camp in jail, right? I was gone 9.5 months. I get out. I had this thing. While I got the thing where I got arrested with a girl when I went to jail. Well, coincidentally, in that parking lot, the girl I went to jail with for the acid, Clint's mother worked at the Mazda dealership and saw me and saw this. Years later, he told me. My mom watched the whole thing, where I said that there's 1,000,001 cops. Coincidentally, Clint's mom noticed me. I don't know how, still to this day. I never met her in person. I have no idea how she recognized me. Another way out there's. So I go off to jail for something else in Cherokee County. This thing, the acid deal, it's postponed for the whole year that I'm away. I get out of boot camp. I have to go right back to court in 2 weeks. I get put on probation. I pop a dirty piss test for weed. They lock me up for a month. I had just done 9.5 months. Get out, go to court, 2 weeks. Go, report. First time I report, pissed me up, it's dirty, locked me up a month. When I got out, I never went back. I was absconding. The same probation I was absconding from, the same PO, I bump into her twice coincidentally. I've discussed this. Once I'm at a Mexican restaurant, and I'm sitting up at the bar, and we meet eyes, and I'm like, oh, F. I discussed this. This is before cell phones. I was 25. I pay the bartender. I slide under the bar and go around to the back. She gets up to go to the bathroom. Wasn't cell phones. She went up to use the phone. I know it. When she sat down, I slid under the bar. I went out the back door. I came around from the back of the parking lot and snuck around to the side to peek. There were 2 cops sitting outside in front of the Mexican restaurant. I've discussed this. If I'd have stayed there another minute, I'd have been busted. Escaped her then. Another time, I was in I was in court. Insane Marietta. The same probation officer. There's only one probation officer for the city of Marietta. It's not Cobb County. This is 2 different affiliations, right? I spend a whole day. The place is enormous. There's hundreds of people, right? From 9 in the morning till 5, it's like a movie theater, an amphitheater, right? A lot of people. It was all the way till 5 o'clock. It was a few minutes before 5. I was the second to last person. There was one other person. They called his name, got up. As soon as they called my name, right as they were saying, Michael, as they were calling my name, my PO walked out the door. I'm the last person when he says Michael Russakoff as the door shuts. Honest to God, not a minute, not 50 seconds, less than 10 seconds sooner, she would have heard my name called and she would have caught me. I got away from her pins and needles twice like that. The same PO now. Another one, he's way out there. So like I said, I was 25. So this does happen to me my whole life. Okay? Okay, so I talk about... Let me start over. Let me start from the beginning, because there's a few in here. Danny OBrien. Danny OBrien was a few years older than me. Danny OBrien was a punk. He was a few years older than me. He was a weed dealer. He had a brother younger, which was a year younger than me. Danny OBrien, Doug OBrien, excuse me. Danny was an older guy that hung out with the younger guys, was a punk, a bully, a mouth, a redneck piece of shit, all that. Their parents owned a bunch of property that used to be all woods. Since high school, his parents sold that property, which is at Blackwell Road in Marietta, off Blackwell Road and Ebenezer. The O'Brien's parents owned all that, so Danny's parents were loaded, basically, right? Like I said, he was a weed dealer. He's a lazy guy. His parents had money, so he just sold weed, sat in the house. He was, like I said, he was a mouthy punk, okay? Danny OBrien. When I went to spring break in high school, I discussed this, and this could be new to probably everybody. Maybe one person knows this, or anyone that's seen all of my videos. So on my spring break, it's at nighttime. Danny OBrien tells, we're on the beach, it's at night, I'm drunk as piss. Just coincidentally, Natalie there again, same Natalie's in the story, I'm sitting there, she comes up, Natalie is with this guy Warren Ponder that I went to school with. Dad was supposedly in a mob. We used to hang out, we used to spend weekends with him in middle school. Warren and Natalie were sitting there talking and smoking a bowl. On came Tony Blackburn. Danny OBrien told Tony Blackburn, go over there and sucker punch Russakoff. I'm sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, boom. I get hit with a shot, and I'm drunk already, and for the first time in my life, I see stars. I remember seeing, look like flowers spinning, like I literally seen stars. Okay. Almost went out, like I said, seen stars, and then came to and grabbed him, and Tony Blackburn was like my size, right? He was like my height, but I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, spastic ADD kid. I've mentioned this. I worked out every single day all through high school. Every single day of high school, I worked out. Because I was AD and LD, I was allowed to have a workout, as a way to burn off steam. I was allowed it for being LD. I worked out every single day, all the way through high school, even when I was in rehab. So I was strong, I was tough for my size and age. Tony wasn't. He was just a burnout. He got a good shot on me. I turn around, I grab him, I body slam him on the lounge chairs and go to obliterating him to a bloody pulp. Gave him the biggest shiner that any of us had ever seen. Swelled his eye. He was the laughing stock of the universe. I beat the living hell out of him. Like I said, he sucker punched me. This is Danny O'Brien, winding up Tony Blackburn's battery, sent him in for the cheap shot. Okay, now we fast forward. Now it's me and Natalie. So you know, Natalie is stripper ex-girlfriend, right? Don't be offended. Just ain't got nothing to do with no girls. I'm worried my wife can see one of these and get the wrong thinking. It's only people, places, and things. No more. It's me and Natalie. We go out to eat, and one of Natalie's, she's got 2 or 3 best girlfriends. One's Chrissy Chance, the one that was Dick Delicious's girlfriend, who happened to write me letters all through boot camp. Thank you, aka Chrissy Chance, if you ever see this or out there. It was one of her friends. The other friend was Tammy, as I've discussed, and Tammy's husband was Jeff. Jeff was an army dude who I bump into coincidentally as well. Like I said, I literally, anyone and everyone I've ever had dealings or any kind of friction or story at all with, they always come back, pass through my path. You'll see as the stories go on. So there's Tammy and Jeff and Danny O'Brien, same asshole, and his wife's name is Marie. Spanish girl, Marie. Something like that. Marie. That's Danny's wife. She happened to be, her, Natalie, and Tammy were best childhood friends. So before this fight, we went out to eat a few times, and me and Danny, we got along for what we had to. At this time, he was selling powder. I remember we went to his house, did some powder, and we all went out drinking, the 4 of us. Just me and Natalie, Danny, and Maria. So we were cool. Then one night, we'd go out to eat, go to a Mexican restaurant off Powder Springs Street, close to my house, and we drink 7 pitchers of margaritas, and Jeff, Tammy's husband, tackles me. And I'm in a plastic chair, and right behind, he tackles me, and in my chair, I fall through like a wooden fence, right? The fence is behind me. I break through the fence. We tumble and roll down a hill. By the time I get to the bottom of the hill and stand, I'm now fighting Danny O'Brien and Jeff. Me by myself, they're both attacking me. I'm swinging on both of them. Both of them are swinging on me. We're all getting hits on each other, but it's them against me. We fight, we scrap for a minute, and we back up, and I'm bloody, and my shirt's ripped, torn, terribly, right? Imagine, now I'm fighting 2 guys. One guy straight out of the army, and the other guy, Danny O'Brien, older than me, taller than me, not badder than me, but older and taller than me. So he was a bitch, and took, I'm fighting with the other guy, and here he comes and gets his cheap licks, right? So I fight these 2 guys. I'm on probation. I'm absconding now, keep in mind. So we're in city of Marietta, same place, town, all that, and I've absconded from this probation officer twice, but they haven't happened yet, right? This is before this happened, before I've seen her at a Mexican restaurant, okay? So they all were drunk. Jeff talks, he's in the army, he's a clean-cut looking guy. I have long hair. He talks to the owner, he works it out, tells him to come back the next day and fix the fence. I dip up out of there. Police come, they talk, yada yada yada. If I would have stuck around, I would have got hemmed up. We probably all would have went to jail, right? So there again, I hide on the side of the building. I watch the cops come and go. They all get in a van. Jeff, Tammy, Danny O'Brien, and Natalie and Marie, they all get in the van, and I walk up to the van, and we're yelling and like half swinging on each other, and Natalie says, just stay here, let me go get my car, I'll come back. She goes back with them, she goes to drinking. One of those, she was a floozy. Sorry, Nat, but you're floozy. So she goes back there and is drinking, is getting drunk, right? F me. Don't come back for me. I'm walking down the streets, 12 o'clock at night. I'm absconding from the same town now. My shirt's ripped. I'm bloody. I'm walking down the street at midnight. And lo and behold, Natalie's parents happen to be out at 12 o'clock at night. Why or how? God sent. I'll never know how. Her parents see me. What are you doing, Mike? They were on the other side of the road. How they see me and how they were out that late, God sent. Like I said, I get in the car. We go to where they're they're at. They're at Tammy's and Jeff's apartment. We go there. They come out. Natalie's dad bear hugs Danny, and I beat up Jeff, and then I beat up Danny. I fight and beat them both up right there in the spot. I went. They're drinking drunk. I'm mad psycho. I've been walking for hours now, right? I've sobered up. I'm bloody. My shirt's ripped. I go furious on them and start wailing on them, going at them. And Natalie's dad's grabbing and bear hugging them and helping me beat them up. He's not fighting and swinging, but he's bear hugging each of them. He's holding them, and I'm able to swing on both of them at the same time. Beautiful revenge thing. Where's the more? Okay, so ran back into these people. So then fast forward many years later, I'm in the pawn shop, same one I met this other dillweed fun, and who is it? Lo and behold, it's Danny OBrien. So, like I said, you see, I've had dealings with this guy starting back in high school. We're in our middle 20s now. So I go to boot camp, I get out, I go with my friend Donovan, who I've discussed. Donovan works at Dave & Buster's. We go to a party, and there's Jeff. There's Tammy's husband, the guy I got in a fight with. Him and Donovan work together at Dave & Buster's. They're buddy-buddy. They're best friends. I remember, like I said, I went to boot camp, and jail was gone for almost a whole year. First weekend I get out, Donovan takes me to a party. Here's Jeff. It was wild. It was weird. Like I said, this kind of weird shit's been, I was 22, 23 then, so it's not new for me. I never really understood it. You see what I'm saying? I never even knew it until here recently. Odd coincidence, sequence events has followed me my whole life. Still does to the daily. Does any of this seem believable? Seem like extra? I think it's extra. I think it's fabulous, extraordinary. The things I'm doing right now are mind-blowing to me, truthfully. These stories to me are mind-blowing to me and awesome, and my heart's in it. Thank you, Miss Cray. She said something beautiful to me. You're more than welcome to say it here. It's beautiful what she said. Something how I articulated like ADD in this, and she complimented me on Instagram. And thank you, Miss Cray. It was beautiful and heartfelt. One of the best things I've ever heard anyone say to me in my life. Good enough to bring it up and let it be heard. Think it should be heard? Yeah. Think stuff like that should be heard. It made me proud. Thank you, Miss Cray. You made me proud. She's made me proud 2 or 3 times here lately. Said something else to me. And these are people that at one time we were in opposition with each other. There's Colin and Zach. Colin is back in town. That's Zach in the back. Let me get to this. Let me let you hear what Miss Cray had to say. It was beautiful. Shout out, Miss Cray.
Dude, Mike, this is amazing. Like, I am really fucking impressed, and I really like how you kind of, correlate ADD into everything, and especially this. I think it's like really important to have visibility within the community.
Thank you, Miss Cray. That warms my heart. Hope I did a bomb deal. Live tomorrow night, yo. I'm still thriving. I'm still alive, though. I'm still in my mind, ho. You ain't believe I got the best of me. I must confess, you see. I will not attest to see. I got sick rhymes. I never knew I could do anything with it. Tss. ADD?